which sums up how all of us are feeling, sitting here really deflated after that, and actually talking about Alexandre Lacazette and his desire to be playing in that final in Lyon, where he's from. Of course, you sensed that tonight, didn't you? He was up for this.
He was right at it. I mean, this is his early opportunity, and that's, it's very unfortunate. I think he chooses the right technique here, the instep, tried to guide it towards goal, hits the outside of the post, but it was this point, they were really doing the right thing, Arsenal, in those wide areas. If you see how narrow Atletico played, that's where the space was. Get it wide and get the ball in the box. They defend very well, yes, but that's where your spaces are, and it's exactly where the goal came from. It was actually Griezmann trying to nutmeg Monreal on the edge of his own box. Jack Wilshere finds a lovely little pocket of space, and just how early Lacazette gets up there is how the goal is created, Martin. It's just the leap.
I mean, Jack does brilliantly here, Jack Wilshere, but he waits for that space. He wants that space. He's waiting for that area, always loitering, and then he commits to it. And it's a fantastic leap, and it's textbook header down into that corner. It needed to be something special to beat the goalkeeper here tonight. And you thought Arsenal then were going to do the job when they were off and running.
And as we were watching him being interviewed, you watched the interview and just said to me, those two have been let down.
Definitely. I mean, normally it's about you winning and you lose together as a team, but if you break it down into compartments, front players, they've done nothing wrong tonight. They can't approach themselves. At the back of the team, I would feel tonight I'd let them down if I was a defender, because, you have to do your job properly. And as I say, certain building blocks are not there with the defence. There's one ball down the middle and everybody suffers. And look, they're great lads. They'll come back, but they know how difficult it is now to win this second.
And we'll look at the goal that Arsenal conceded in just a moment. But actually, by contrast, Atletico looked sort of strangely at home playing 4-4-1 after the red card, didn't they? Just to sit in and be solid, just suited them.
This is where they live. It's as simple as that. They are tired. This is obviously the sending off, and the referee gets that right. That's the second one. It's a clear stamp on Lacazette's ankle.
Is it just a case of being so well drilled?
They've been here hundreds of times, this team. It's how they play 4-4-2. You lose one player, you just lose a striker. They rotated the striker about 3 or 4 times today, and it's all about kind of resting those individuals. Sometimes Griezmann goes wide, then he went up top. In defence, I was watching Diego Godin, and he just don't flinch. He doesn't get too over-animated. He gets everyone together, he gets his defence in tight, and within the goalkeeper, he's like the last kind of man standing. And he put in a performance today that was just as good, if not better, than absolutely all of them.
They don't overcommit, they just slide across, and they've got somebody in a position. They don't panic, they get in the way of things. I mean, when they don't, this goalkeeper is a little bit special, and great reflex save there.
They've conceded 19 goals all season, the lowest of any team in the top 5 leagues across Europe. So it feels like an Arsenal-type result. They had the chances, they played a lot of nice football going forwards, but they weren't particularly critical. They didn't have that cutting edge, but then conceded a weak goal. But is that doing a disservice to an Arsenal side that they're always going to struggle to break down such a good team?
But look, that's what they're good at. This is their territory. They defend very well. But this is the situation here that can't be allowed to happen. It's just one ball down the middle. And I think Koscielny is quick, but he knows Griezmann's quicker, and he panics. And he tries to get... This is when you sort your line out. Now look, you have to take your line off the player who's on that side of the ball. He should be up Monreal, but he isn't. But I'm not sure what Koscielny's doing there. Get goal side. I'd be thinking there, I've got to get goal. And even here, he panics. You could see that through, and then Mustafi falls over. And in the end, it just looks a terrible goal to concede, go through the goalkeeper's legs. But when the ball's at the other end, that's when you're getting into position. That's when you're setting the trap to win the ball back. And that's where the building blocks are missing. They don't see danger for them.
It tells me there's a lack of almost leadership and communication. Well, usually centre-half, so there was... Silly will be coming up the pitch and saying, get up. They can't... You see them coming up the pitch going like that. And that's because they want to be kind of the furthest back of everything. Because then they know no one can make runs in behind them. Whereas there, he's got himself ahead of Monreal for some weird reason.
We've said this about Arsenal so many times, though, haven't we, over the past 4 or 5 seasons? It's a recurring theme.
It is, and it certainly cost them tonight. And it's one of the reasons why Arsene Wenger is having to leave when he is.
Maybe it's a result of the performance that in many ways sums up where Arsenal are at the moment. And of course, we'll get the thoughts of Arsene Wenger in just a couple of moments. Talking of belief, you looked at me doing that and said, he's making me believe again.
He is, and the dust has to settle on this, and the mood. I think he's positive with his performance, and it nearly came off. and he'll be disappointed the way that they conceded the goal. And there's no doubt that the defensive compartment has let the front players down, and that is criminal. A game where it should have been as it once was, 1-0 to the Arsenal. It wasn't, but. Don't back against Arsenal, though, being able to score. I know that they've got an incredible record, only conceded 4 goals this year in the Serie A.
Yes, but Atletico last conceded a goal on the 20th of January.
Correct. But, why not? How about conceding one in the next round, in the next leg?
We don't like that.
You've got to go there with some sort of optimism.
We also got beat at the weekend 3-0 by Sociedad. I watched in the last tie that Sporting Lisbon gave him a right go and actually should have scored in the dying seconds at home. Yes, coulda, shoulda, woulda, but they're giving away opportunities. And I saw tonight, there are cracks back there at times. And I saw some positive things from Arsenal. I thought the intensity, the intent of the players, the way they approach the game. And I think that's what they've got to focus on. They're going to come off feeling like they've lost the game of football, don't get me wrong, but they're playing against the second best team in the league right now. And they need to focus on the fact that, yes, they had 10 men, but they battered them even in 20 minutes or 10, 15 minutes when they had 11 men on the pitch. How do you go and do that now over in Madrid?
It changes the conversation completely. With Welbeck, a good game tonight, Ozil running, chasing, picking up pockets on that right-hand side, whipping crosses in, Lacazette's movement, that tremendous spring. It looks like Rolls-Royce to me up front. It looks like a really good signing, and then they get it wrong.
You've got to cut out mistakes, Martin, haven't you? Simple as that.
Minimise your mistakes, but as I say, it's the...
Elsewhere, Marseille picked up a 2-0 win at home to Salzburg in the other semi-final. Goals there from Florian Thauvin and Clinton Unji. Salzburg hit the post later, and that could have been very different. We'll show you action from that game a little later. But if you're an Arsenal fan, one apiece probably feels like a defeat.
Certainly after the first half performance, it's certainly advantaged Simeone and Atletico. And we said at half-time, we wondered how costly them missed chances in the first half were going to be. Well, now we know, very, very costly. You've got to take advantage of the opportunities that you create, certainly at this level, and certainly in the semi-final of a cup at home. You've got to take advantage. You've got to take advantage to Atletico Madrid's ground. You've got to, be clinical, and that's something that Arsenal wins. Second half, I thought Arsenal were better. I thought they competed more in the middle of the park. I thought they won more balls in the middle of the park and put Atletico under immense pressure in the second half, and you just felt that goal was coming, and it did. Lacazette got on the score sheet, but it was such bad defending, Andy, for the equaliser to let Griezmann in. And
I just wonder, from an Arsenal point of view, Jason, maybe an obvious question, but was that avoidable?
Very much so, Andy, and as you can see here, we freezed it at the point where Lacazette, he will feel he was fouled. He went to ground very, very easy. I think the referee got that right, that decision. I don't think it was a foul. You are your most vulnerable when you are in possession. And if you look there, you'd think that everything was okay. Obviously, Lacazette is isolated.
Is that Lacazette's Welbeck, isn't it?
Sorry, is that Welbeck?
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, Welbeck, yeah. Sorry, then Welbeck, yeah. But if you look here, this is where the action takes place within seconds of Welbeck going on the floor. Here you can see Arsenal just pushing out. First of all, they need to get out a lot quicker. They need to push up onto the halfway line. They need to squeeze it there. The ball's a good way into the Atletico half here. So they should be pushed up. Mustafi, I have no idea what he's doing in this position. And as you can see, as we run it on in a minute, it ends up being Bellerin who ends up playing him on. He stops, as you can see there.
Do you want to be 10 yards further forward, the fullback?
Yeah, they're squeezing out now. Mustafi plays up like... Now, if we just freeze it there, it's Bellerin and Mustafi who are playing him on. Koscielny, he's in a decent position if Mustafi is in here. He's too far away from him. He can't affect it at all. Neither can Bellerin. He needs to be tucked in a little bit more here. He needs to be tucked in. That is basically, as the ball comes over his head, that becomes a one-on-one situation, because these two players are actually out of position.
And Griezmann is so alert, he spots the danger straight away.
Straight away, and there you go, it becomes a one-on-one. Koscielny should do better, he should show more strength, misses out, Mustafi slips and goes over. Griezmann puts it in, but it was so avoidable.
So frustrating if you're an Arsenal fan. So it feels like a defeat, I imagine, if you're Arsene Wenger. Actually, Arsenal did go in front.
But in all honesty, he didn't have a great deal to do Beck, in all honesty, when you think of the numerical advantage that Arsenal did, they didn't really punish Atletico Madrid. It was down to some really, really good defending and some really poor forward play from some of the Arsenal players. But you're not going to argue with him, really, are you? But I think he was playing more peacemaker than anything. I think Simeone was, remonstrating far too much. But I can understand his frustration. I thought the referee in the first minute of the game, he really should have just give him a warning, just calmed it all down. But he was too quick to get the yellow card.
Would you have given him the second yellow? It was a straight red, though.
I wouldn't have done. I would have given him a yellow card for that. I think that was a definite yellow card. I thought the first one, it was his first challenge. It's a slippy pitch. The tensions are high. Everybody comes out at 100 mile an hour. He had fallen just a couple of seconds before that. He lost his foot. He tried to get up and overstretched. I think it would have been easier and a much better decision for the referee to have just said, right, let's just calm down, give a free kick and let it carry on. He didn't. He gave the yellow card. It was a stupid yellow card for the second, and then the referee had to brandish the red card. So that was the outcome.
Plenty more analysis and reaction from the Emirates to come.